Now, I'm sure all of you guys have seen on your TikTok For You page recently videos talking about the new big three. One Piece, Bleach, and something called Kagura Bachi. And people are saying shit about Kagura Bachi like, Kagura Bachi inspired manga. It's always been here, we just couldn't see it until now. Or a milestone for human civilization. Kagura Bachi is more influential than the discovery of fire. You know, dumb shit like this. Now, I obviously think to some extent people are exaggerating, but I think you guys are getting a gist of the fucking level of glazing that's happening at the moment. And if you are anything like me, you are thinking, what the fuck is a Kagura Bachi? I was pissed. I mean, the nerve to replace Naruto with something I've never heard of before. So I did some research of my own, and today I'm going to be telling you what I found, what Kagura Bachi actually is, and if it lives up to the hype. Now, you may be thinking, what an incredible manga Kagura Bachi must be if it can replace Naruto. But listen to this, it hasn't even been released yet. There is only one chapter out at the moment. I mean, this level of glazing is unprecedented, bro. These smooth-brained apes have kicked aside my baby, Naruto, like the ugly duckling, for an unreleased manga. Now, Kagura Bachi is an upcoming shonen manga series that's getting a lot of attention from the community, all thanks to a leaked character design of the series' main character, Chihiro. The Kagura Bachi manga is part of the Shonen Jump's Next Wave project. It's written by Hokozonu Takeru. I probably butchered that, I apologize. The initiative aims to promote rising talent and has been a build-up initiative and platform for many promising future stars of the manga industry. The initiative also comes as a step to rebuild the manga industry, as most of the established authors are getting close to ending their respected mangas. Now, we are going to dive into this one chapter and see what all this hype is actually about and whether it's warranted. It starts off with the MC and his father laboring away blacksmithing. The father of the MC's name is Rokuhira Kunishige. I butchered that. The most famous sword maker in the entirety of the country, who uses special techniques to create his powerful swords. And every day the MC learns the trade alongside his father as an assistant. We then now get an interaction between the MC and his father outside of the smithy, and the father is very light-hearted in contrast to when he is working, giving heavy Yuji Itadori vibes. You know, someone who is supremely powerful but is the most unserious human on the earth. The father had been tricked while he was walking around the market and bought some goldfish, and the two have a back and forth displaying a strong and healthy relationship. The MC is very serious, nonchalant, and like monotone, you know? Probably due to him having to deal with his father's childish antics all the time. Now, after a quick working session, the two decide to go and eat something. And as they're about to leave, they encounter a man dressed smartly named Shiba, who had brought some gifts. The man is an old friend of the father and often comes to visit. And during this visit, Shiba tells Chihiro, the MC, that during the Seitei War, the father's name was better known than the warriors who fought. The swords he made were more crucial than the soldiers who wielded them. He then tells Chihiro that he has to remember that his father saved a lot of people and that he's a hero. Shiba departs, leaving Chihiro and his father alone, in which the father states that if Chihiro is going to be a true master, he's going to have to teach him some less joyful parts of the trade. You can see that he is clearly hesitant to teach Chihiro what he must know to be a master. But Chihiro insists that he truly wants to improve and that he wants to get to his father's level as a blacksmith. The father gives in. They walk into a room where a katana lies alone in the middle of said room. The father unsheaths the blade and says, "I think you already know that our swords paved the way to a new era and saved many lives, and that swords are designed to kill. That's a fact. We bear the weight of the lives taken by the swords we forge. We made the weapons that took those lives. In the wrong hands, these weapons can take the lives of good people. If you are not aware of the weight to bear, you are not ready to forge. Smithing requires good morals. Protect the weak, destroy evil. Those who fight are men of conviction. Conviction, don't forget that. We must bear the weight of our responsibility. Soon you'll sell the first sword that you forged yourself. When you entrust a sword to someone, these two things take up an immense weight on your conscience. Can you handle that?" Here we see a very serious and stern side of the father, which gives you an inkling as to how important he really was in his past. Chihiro responds that he is determined to do it. 38 months later, we're shown the execution of some men with their hands tied behind their backs. We see a man with a moustache who is clearly leading the swarm of men who are doing the executions. The man leaves one of the tied up victims alive and asks for the names of all of his friends at the Liberation Army. The trembling young man on his knees says, "It's you. Before the Yakuza arrived, this city was at peace, but you took everything. Our land, our money, our own belongings, all by force. So who gives a fuck? The filth that eats up at our city is..." Before he can finish his sentence, he is punched by the Yakuza leader. Now here we get a key bit of information. The man who was just punched states, "So what, you're a sorcerer?" And then he rambles a little longer, insulting the Yakuza. So here we learn that the world contains people who have some form of magical power, and that the Yakuza leader is one of these men, known as a sorcerer. A man with a bowler hat obscuring his eyes intervenes and raises his hand, which results in a tree of sharp blades emerging from the ground, entrapping the hostage, followed by the mysterious man dissipating into the air. The scene then cuts to Chihiro sitting on a train, with a scar on the side of his face we've never seen before, and a blade resting beside him. Mr. Shiba then approaches and asks if he can sit. He then asks Chihiro if he could heal his scar. Would he? Chihiro then responds, "In the mornings, when I look up at my face in the mirror, I obviously notice it. I remember the day, and every morning I start the day with a renewed hatred." Shiba says if you live like that all your life, you're gonna break down. So clearly some traumatizing, significant event has taken place during those 38 months, and that it has ingrained itself into Chihiro's mind, tormenting his every waking moment. Chihiro then says that it seems like the organization that runs this city is the Yakuza, and that these Yakuza are probably linked to them, in parentheses, them referring to the culprits of the traumatic event. An old man on the street starts talking about how the Liberation Army fought for the people against the Yakuza, and they ended up like that, looking up at 4 men hanging from a bridge. Shiba says that the Yakuza is making an example out of these 4 Liberation Army members, basically saying that if the people want to survive, they must obey. We are then taken to a Yakuza hideout. 4 Yakuza members are talking at a table, joking around, then suddenly stop when a knife flies by, killing one of the men instantly. Chihiro then descends onto the table and swings his sword in a full circle, killing every man at the table in one fell swoop. By the way, this is the warehouse where the scene prior took place. We see that the hostage is still alive and is still refusing to aid the Yakuza boss, and the interaction between those two is happening in a separate room. And just before the hostage is about to give in due to the Yakuza threatening the man's sister, an arm flies in the air, detached by Chihiro's sword. He makes quick work of the men at the door. The Yakuza boss shouts, "Who are you?" Shiba yells from the other room, "This kid's father is Rokuhara Kunishige. You must remember him. Thanks to his special techniques in forging weapons, he is the greatest blacksmith. Rokuhara Kunishige, he imbues sorcery into the blade itself. The blades that he forges harbor unique magical force. This boy's sword is the last blade that Rokuhara Kunishige forged." Chihiro calmly says the word N10. Quickly following, a koi fish bursts from his blade. Chihiro then effortlessly slaughters the horde of Yakuza, apart from the boss. Chihiro raises his blade to the boss's throat and orders the man to tell him everything he knows about a man named Hishaku. The boss is confused. He feigns ignorance. Chihiro then says that Hishaku is the one that gives the orders, the head of that sorcerer organization. The boss's face lights up with fear, his eyes almost bursting from their sockets. He utters the words, "Hishaku, these guys, they're monsters. If you're looking for them, you're insane." Chihiro, unbothered by the warning, looks down at the boss and says sarcastically, "I'm insane. Even if they are monsters, that won't stop me. These guys, I'll kill them all." Wow. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, this is straight concentrated liquid hype. The introduction of Chihiro's sword that has magical properties and the beautifully drawn fight scenes really live up to the hype. Also, the introduction of a main antagonist, Hishaku, sets up the story pretty well. I'm looking forward to the rest of this manga, and I do think it may be the new next-gen superstar that Jujutsu Kaisen was. The MC is a cold-hearted, merciless killer who will stop at nothing to achieve his revenge. I typically don't like emotionless MCs as they're typically pretty two-dimensional and have no depth, but Chihiro is anything but. I mean, in just one chapter we get a look into his worldview and a relentless will that he can make whatever he wants a reality no matter how insane it seems. If you liked the video, make sure to like and subscribe and turn on noties for any future uploads, and yeah, bye bye.